Hey guys, my name is Wyatt Harvey Buffett Delacroix, and today I'm just going to be doing the introduction to a deeper understanding of my uncertainty principle. So I don't aim to be certain, I aim to become less wrong over time. Okay, so the introduction to a deeper understanding of my uncertainty principle. What is my uncertainty principle? It's my commitment to stay in uncertainty long enough to see closer to the truth. I don't see complete clarity, but I do get more accurate over time. I do not seek certainty. If I take a moment and just say this is speculation, bit of an emotional vent, I think certainty is retarded. Now, obviously, grounding it in reality, there is no such thing as retardation. That's an outdated, unempathetic word, but I did ground it in speculation. So I seek accuracy. I do not need to be right. I need to be updated. Certainty is quite static, just like an IQ test. Uncertainty is dynamic, a little bit more like reality. So dynamic thinking usually wins. So this is why certainty fails me. So it closes my mind to new data. And I've dealt with some pretty heavy drug-induced psychosis for it was around 6 years or something. Constant waking nightmare, and I didn't know what I was doing, and felt certain, even though I had no idea what was going on. So it was just delusion, and I didn't actually know what was happening. But it also creates overconfidence. It hides flaws in my thinking, leads to poor decisions, ignores the complexity of reality, turns me into my own worst liar, and makes me fragile when reality inevitably disagrees. False certainty is delusional. Delusions lead to failure. So this is how I stay uncertain. I stay curious. I approach everything like a student. I ask better questions. I focus on depth, not quick answers. I listen. While I try to listen more than I speak, I absorb perspectives and remain open. Although currently I've been doing a lot of talking with people and sort of guiding and teaching, but I do make sure to try and balance that listening because I do seek new information. I expose myself to diverse ideas. Yeah, I don't want to create an echo chamber because that would just be a bit silly. So I slow down my conclusions. Yeah, I try not to jump to conclusions at all, unless it's high probability. But even then, it's not really a conclusion. It's more just the move that I can accurately make. I journal and reflect. So I don't journal, but I do create posters and do lessons like these and make songs, which I listen to on repeat. I even listen to these lessons that I'm making to help me reinforce my ideas, and even teaching it allows me to understand it better. And I focus on what I can control. So control's technically made up, but what I can influence. So my efforts, my habits, and my actions. So this is how I regulate uncertainty. I sit with discomfort. I allow the feeling without running from it. I regulate my nervous system, breath work, movement, cold exposure. Now, I do cold exposure through like wearing shorts during winter and stuff. It's nothing like, ice bathing or whatever they call it. I build mental and physical resilience. Hard training builds tolerance. So I've built a lot of mental resilience. Even during sleep deprivation, I can stay pretty switched on, but just a bit slower. There's some latency issues. And then physically, I'm quite a big guy. So I trust the process. I have faith in the long-term compounding, which is a simplification. I don't believe in blind faith. Even this uncertainty approach can fail. That's the reality of it. And in the end, I return to my principles. So my identity, discipline, and truth, my personal truth above all else, really. And I remind myself not knowing is okay. It means I'm still close to the truth, and I track patterns and outcomes. I focus on signals that arise. Okay, so why certainty is optimal? It keeps me open to new information, which is beautiful. It's like learning is playing for me. Learning is play for anyone. Finding new information is like, it's like a drug, but healthier when you balance it with mindfulness. It makes me adaptable and resilient. It improves the accuracy of my predictions. It reduces emotional reactions to outcome. It allows for better risk management. It helps me see patterns most miss, and it aligns with me with how reality actually works: complex, dynamic, and always changing. Uncertainty is not a weakness. It is an approximation and an attempt to align with reality. So uncertainty powers my system. Better decisions through better models, more accurate predictions over time, superior adaptability in a changing world. Superior is a very simplified word. It just means more accurate, high probability to me. It gives me emotional stability regardless of outcome. It compounds. I improve in most areas. It gives me a deeper connection to the truth. Freedom from ego delusion and the need to be right is very rewarding in the long run and even short term. Uncertainty is the foundation, accuracy is the result, truth is the destination. I don't really need the answer, but the answer confirms that my system is working. That's why I need it, but I don't seek out the answer. That's not the thing that's important to me. It's about building systems. Okay, so now we'll go into the hook. So how has certainty lied to you guys? Or lied to me? So we've been wrong before, and while feeling 100% sure. So why do we trust our certainty now? Or why do you trust your certainty now? Your brain loves certainty. I know personally for me it was so addictive, being right, knowing 100%, being confident in the answer without fail, very addictive. It feels safe, it reduces stress, it gives the illusion of control. Just like logical reasoning does the same thing. It makes you feel like you're in control, when in reality, you're not actually in control. You're dictated by environment, genes, and you do have enough agency to make choices, but it's very dependent on your availability of technology and systems. And it helps you feel right. And so the reality doesn't give a shit about your certainty. Reality is complex. Information is incomplete. Things change. You will never know it all. Your certainty is limited. Our certainty feels good, but performs bad. It stops you from seeing, learning, and adapting. Certainty creates blind spots. You stop questioning. You ignore disconfirming evidence. You narrow your perspective. You become overconfident. You believe your own story. And you also make poorer decisions, or could make poorer decisions over time. The cost of false certainty: missed opportunities, bad decisions, damaged relationships, regret, stagnation, failure. And true growth begins when you admit, or can begin when you admit, I might be wrong. That's the start of accuracy, wisdom, and freedom. It can be. It may look different in other people. So now we'll move on to defining the problem and introducing uncertainty, how you can do that, why certainty fails and why uncertainty wins. So the problem, certainty, I'll just reiterate it. Certainty feels good, but it leads you away from the truth. It closes your mind. It creates overconfidence. It hides flaws. It leads to poor decisions. It ignores complexity. It turns you into your own worst enemy and liar. False certainty is delusional. Delusion leads to failure. The solution: uncertainty. Uncertainty feels uncomfortable, but it leads you closer to the truth. It keeps your mind open. You stay curious and open to new information. It builds accuracy. Your beliefs and sort of ideas become based on evidence, not emotions. It reveals flaws. It allows you to see more clearly and fix weaknesses in your thinking. It can lead to better decisions. You make choices with more information and flexibility. It respects complexity. You hold multiple perspectives and adapt to reality, and it builds humility and growth. You accept you might be wrong and you keep improving. Uncertainty is not weakness. It is alignment with reality. Certainty does feel safe. So what you can do is validate your feelings. So when you feel certain about something, you can say either externally like, hey, I love you. I know this feels good. It feels safe. Let's just hold ourselves open to a perspective where we may be wrong. And you can say that externally or internally. Okay, so now we'll move on to emotional barrier and regulation. How I stay and thrive in uncertainty. And remember, this isn't perfect. I'm not constantly uncertain. I'm not that much of a master, but I'm learning. So anyway, the emotional barrier. Why uncertainty feels bad. My brain is wired for certainty, not accuracy. It sees uncertainty as a threat. My brain resists uncertainty. Threat detection, uncertainty feels dangerous, so my brain tries to protect me. Discomfort and ambiguity creates stress, anxiety, and mental tension. Story pain loop. I create stories to feel certain even if they are wrong. Control illusion. Certainty gives an illusion of control over outcomes. Impatience. I want quick answers and hate not knowing. So regulation, how I try to stay with uncertainty. I don't try to get rid of uncertainty. I regulate my body, mind, and action so I can think clearly, to my best ability. As Socrates says, or did say possibly, I know nothing. And I theorize that's the same with me. I don't know nothing, but I know very little, and I will never know everything. My regulation tools and practices. I regulate my nervous system with breath work, cold exposure, and stillness to calm my body. I observe my thoughts. I notice thoughts without believing them. I separate facts from stories. I slow down. I create space between stimulus and response. I don't rush to conclusions. Well, I try not to. It still pops up, I'm not perfect, I'm a human. And then once again, you validate your feelings and sort of leave it open-ended. Allow yourself to see a perspective or move into a mode where you can be uncertain. I focus on what I can influence. So my effort, my attention, my actions, I let go of the need to control outcomes. I accept the feeling. I allow the discomfort to be there. I build tolerance, not avoidance. Yeah, because over time, it just becomes like natural, It's taken me maybe a month and 3.5 weeks to sort of build this entire mental system, not just the uncertainty thing. Maybe 2 months now. And I'm getting really good at tolerating uncertainty. It's almost comfortable now. And then in the end, I return to my principles. I anchor in my identity attachment principle, discipline, and my truth above most. I act in alignment even when I'm unsure. Here's the mantra I return to. I can trust the process. If it's high probability, I can handle uncertainty. I choose truth over comfort. I become less wrong over time. The result, I can think with more clarity. I can make more accurate decisions, and I can adapt to reality without being controlled completely by my emotions. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to practical application of my uncertainty principle. So using my uncertainty principle in real life. So uncertainty is not just a theory, it's daily practice. I apply the system in every area of life. I think clearer, I mostly make better decisions, and I stay aligned with reality. So number one, social/relationships. Example, they didn't reply to my message. Instead of assuming they're ignoring me, I consider multiple possibilities. So they're busy, they forgot, they're dealing with something, or they'll reply later. The result, I stay calm, open, and avoid unnecessary emotional reactions. So it just helps you stay sort of centered and a little less neurotic. So number two, thinking and learning. Example, I have an idea that feels right. So instead of assuming that it's right and that it must be true, I like to test and challenge it. So what evidence supports it? What evidence opposes it? What am I missing? How could this be wrong? And how can I ground it in reality? And the result, I build accuracy and avoid intellectual arrogance. So number three would be decision-making example. So I need to make an important choice. Instead of assuming, I must choose the right option. I gather information and weigh probabilities, high probability, low probability, medium probability, covered in another lesson. What are the risks? What can I control? What can I learn either way? The result, I make flexible, informed decisions and adapt as new information comes in. And I'd just like to say that I'm not perfect. I'm human, and I still make mistakes. Even I can't use my systems 100% of the time. Okay, so 4, emotions example. I feel anxious or overwhelmed. Instead of assuming this feeling means something is wrong, I get curious. What is this feeling trying to tell me? I treat my emotions a little bit like informants. So informants can lie. Informants can be wrong. So you shouldn't sort of... you should try to avoid believing your emotions are orders or and avoid obeying them. So I get curious. What is this feeling trying to tell me? Is my interpretation 100% accurate, which is oftentimes not true? And what else could be true? The result, I understand my emotions without being controlled by them. So number 5 would be self-perception example. So I made a mistake or didn't perform well. Instead of assuming that I'm not good enough, I reframe and investigate. What can I learn from this? What's one small step I can improve? This moment doesn't define me. The result, I grow with compassion instead of judgment. I build long-term resilience. And it's sort of developed from necessity. I was placed into a lot of gifted programs, at least 3 confirmed ones. My mother says 4, but 3 confirmed ones at a young age. And they didn't really support me. I didn't learn through rote learning. I learned through what I found out now, which is system learning. And that pressure to perform and be perfect and to act like an adult when there's adults around, and be perfect, have perfect pronunciation and perfect this and perfect that, really gets to you. And I sort of broke down at 10. And then some other stuff happened in my life, and then I dropped into substance abuse and had some mental health issues, and yeah. So how I apply it every time. I observe what's actually happening. I question what could be true, what could be false. 3, I model. What are the possible explanations? 4, I probabilistically rank. 5, I test. And 6, I update. I don't need to be certain. I need to be open, curious, and committed to getting closer to the truth. So the power of practical uncertainty. It keeps me adaptable, calm under pressure, and aligned with reality. It turns uncertainty into a competitive advantage. Although when there is pressure to perform, I do have that internal salience signal that says stop, freeze, blah, 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 but I can work through it. And I'll be able to regulate it better and better as I go on in the future. It's just because of my conditioning and possibly genetics. Okay, so moving on to number 8, the results. The powerful results of living by my uncertainty principle. So uncertainty is not just a way of thinking, it's a way of living. These are the results I experience when I apply it consistently. Greater accuracy. I make decisions based on reality, not assumptions. I update my beliefs and get closer to the truth over time. And uncertainty is quite the problem-solving, generating machine. It really helps not jump to conclusions and leave things open-ended so you can explore closer and more accurate approximations of reality. So I make better decisions. I consider more possibilities when probabilities, weigh probabilities and choose the best option. Adaptability, I adjust quickly when my belief system is wrong or, emotional resilience, I don't panic often. I stay calm and curious and steady, even in chaos, most of the time. So 5, long-term growth. By staying open and willing to learn, I compound knowledge, skills, and wisdom over time. Stronger relationships, I withhold judgment and remain sort of open. 7, reduce blind spots. I do look for what I might be missing, and that doesn't mean that I have this remarkable ability to be accurate and high probability every single time, though. I have inner freedom, so I no longer need to be certain to take action. I'm free from the pressure of being right all the time. And number 9, the compounding advantage. Uncertainty creates a feedback loop of learning, improvement, and leverage that compounds over time. The compounding truth. Every time I choose uncertainty over false certainty, I invest in the future, a future of clarity, growth, and freedom. The bottom line, uncertainty feels uncomfortable in the moment, but the results are worth it for a lifetime. I don't need to be certain to succeed, I just need to stay open, keep learning, and keep getting closer to the truth. I don't aim to be certain, I aim to become less wrong over time. Okay, so the very last one, thank you all for listening, is number 9, the identity shift, becoming a truth seeker, not a certainty seeker. So my old identity, or your old identity, looks like certainty seeker. I need to be right. I protect my beliefs. I fear being wrong. I react and defend. I stay stuck. My new identity, and possibly yours if you choose to take it, you do have the agency. And obviously, if you've seen a few of my other lessons, and I'll do more, but I don't really think that the sense of self is necessary for everything. It's mostly a necessity for repairing relationships both internally and externally, and also taking accountability. Otherwise, the sense of self doesn't really have to exist, but I'll go into detail about that later in a new lesson. So the new identity, I seek to understand. I welcome new information. I get comfortable with uncertainty. I listen and consider, and I grow and evolve. Remember, you are not your opinion. You are not your first thoughts. You are not your confidence. You are the willingness to update. Once again, you aren't, but your body has the willingness to update, and if your brain adapts, then this body that you're inhabiting becomes willing to update. So the identity transition from knowing to questioning, from defending to investigating, from certainty to learning, from ego to growth, from fear to freedom. New identity, new habits, new results, new life. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.